Morning at 9, we bring you the business angle to your lives, basically making your life more amazing with solving your business. And my name is Daisy Atuchiko, always here holding it down. And we have the analysts, the experts, the CEO. Okay, no, he says you should stop calling him CEO. The strategic head of Xavier Consulting. Good morning, Eizu.
Good morning. How you doing? It's a rainy, cold morning.
Yes, it is rainy and cold. There's a lot of traffic. People are stranded on the roads. But then it's also a good day for us to discuss business because, lots of people couldn't make it to work. People are stuck on the road. People are coming late to work. So it's important that we deal with our business and know where our problems are coming from.
Yeah.
All right. So Lagos, we decided to switch things up a little bit and see how it goes. Usually we will take the business news and basically get an insight to that and how we should position ourselves with all of the trajectories that we are seeing in the news. But then we thought, you know what, your business is more important. So let's focus more on you and how to build your business. Because at the end of the day, if you build your business, it's what matters. Whatever happens, you stand. So let's do this. Today we have a quite interesting topic we're discussing from seeds to trees, right? How to achieve exponential growth. That English exponential, there are lots of people that are confused. Could you help us explain what that is, basically?
Exponential is what you call in mathematics to the raised to the power. You know, in primary school, they say 10 raised to power 5. That means 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. You know, normally mathematics is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But when you're not growing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you're growing in 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. We call that exponential. I'll give a good example. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, at 23 made his first 1 million. At 24, he made his first 10 million. At 25, he made his first 1 billion. Do you see the growth? It's not 1 million, 2 million. 20. That's like this. That's all of a sudden spark. What everyone talk about now is Hilda, right?
Yeah.
That's a classic example. When the thing started, I looked at her IG handle. Like every hour, it literally multiplies the IG. Today she's on over 1.2 million. Last time I checked, 2 days, 3 days, 1 million followers. I'm sure if you check that, it might be 2 million. So that's what you call exponential growth. Like, how does that growth happen? That's what we're talking about today.
So we want our business to have such a growth. We want to scale, we want to increase, and not just increase like an ant, but also like an elephant. So very important topic for us to discuss. But then before we go into all of those discussions, it's very important that we mention that this show basically have been put together for you and for your business. And that is why we want you to reach out to us with your business needs, your business pain points, so we can address them right here on air. It's like a consulting platform, like a clinic for you to come in with most of the challenges that you're having, so we can take care of them. It doesn't happen anywhere. It only happens here. So take advantage of that right now. So go to our WhatsApp number and send us a message. Try to give us a background of where you're coming from and where you want to go and the pain points that you're having. You can send that to our WhatsApp number 0818 00 89933. That's 0818 00 89933. It's a WhatsApp number, so please do send your message on WhatsApp. What's the business pain points that you're having at this time? So at a point on the show, we are going to be taking all of those business questions and we'll be addressing them head on. So while we wait for you to send your messages, let's talk about how to scale your business exponentially. Let's start with quantum leap. That's a very interesting word that has to do with exponential growth. So could you help us explain what that is?
So, like I'd like to say, if you're a writer, I write kind of books you love to read. So exponential, quantum. My first degree is mathematics, right? I have 3 masters. I'm doing PhD. But my math is still my first love. So quantum leap is a physics term for people that really read physics in secondary school to PNO, KK, and Abbott. The last page of that's where you have like introduction to atomic and nuclear physics, the most complex part of physics, where they say it's not rocket science. It's actually that's where they say rocket science. So quantum leap is the atoms, right? Atom is the smallest unit of anything. Everything in life, if you break it down to the smallest element, you see an atom. And when you break that atom, you have subatomic atoms. That's electron, neutrons, proton. Stay with me. It's not that boring.
Okay.
But every time, so you have electrons moving round and round and orbits, right? But once in a while, the electron leaves its orbit and has a sudden leap from one orbit, what you call energy level, to another energy level. Now, that sounds very complex until you know what happens. Whenever that happens, there's a sudden spark outside, and that's what gives light. So the concept of the bulb is a quantum leap. So when you turn on your bulb and all of a sudden there's light all over the place, that's a quantum leap. And that's the original concept of quantum leap in physics. But people have come to use it to real life. Like the event that happened in even our world that changed the trajectory of the whole world. I'll give a good example. There's just a lot of things like the invention of the paper, right? Changed the whole world because that created printing press, news. Every other thing that happened after that was and for years, of course, the domestication of horses, right, created transportation. And then the assembly line by Henry Ford created automobile, right? The Pearl Harbor, when America bombed Japan, created literally the end of a whole era and stamped a new world power. So there are things that change the world all the time, right? In our own generation, there are things that have changed the world. The advent of COVID, for example, right? COVID changed the whole trajectory of the world. Matter of fact, in the middle of COVID, new set of billionaires were created. The richest men in the world were overtaken. And people don't understand that the likes of Jeff Bezos are product of COVID, right? One of the biggest, Zoom. Nobody used Zoom, for example, before COVID happened, right? So there are things that change our lives.
Yeah.
You're
forgetting to mention very important thing that happened with COVID. There was a globalization. People can stay in another country and work in another country.
Absolutely.
Very huge.
Those are now the effect of that COVID. Like the fact that working from home came from that.
Yeah.
Not having to travel came from that. But remember, every time that happens, it also kills such industry that will never come back again. Right? I would say TikTok was a winner. Right? LinkedIn was a loser. Right? While Zoom was a winner, a lot of aviation companies shut down and never came back because people didn't travel for like 6 months or so. So, but the point, that's on a macro level. And there's a lot of things that changed the world, a whole lot of things. Freedom of Nelson Mandela and how that evolved to a lot of things. But to our own individual lives, there are also things that would happen in your life that changes your whole trajectory. For example, there might be someone you will meet today that your whole life changes. There's one information you will get now that changes your whole trajectory. If you ever sit down with someone who's a billionaire all of a sudden, who's made money, and you tell me your story, no matter how rigmarole, what you always find is that there was one particular event. Like, I would still remember this one time. It was a very funny story. It was one time I was a teenager, typical teenage moves. I got really angry. I packed my things. I said, you're never going to see me again. I moved out. It was the weirdest thing. I had no money in my pocket. I literally left the house, packed my thing in the backpack. I'll never forget this one thing. And I left the house and I swore that I was never going to come back. I had no money. Like, this is how people literally just become stupid in life. Like, I walked up to the house. I had like maybe small sandwich and I was just walking. And I just saw this house, true story. And I just saw this house that was open, right? And it looked like, abandoned. We're living in Ikoyi then. Oh, the Ikoyi house. It looked very abandoned. They said, oh, you can come in for free, something. This is me. I'm tired. I just walked in there. And I sat down there and there's this stash of book. Literally, it was an abandoned house, but someone owned it. Apparently, the guy that owned it became my mentor.
Wow.
If I didn't meet this guy, my whole life would have followed a trajectory. Like, I remember telling him, like, and he probably laughing at me now, looking at it now, like, who is this small boy that's just really, really dumb? Yeah. I was telling him how my parents were this, that I'm not going to come back. He didn't judge me. He just listened. I said, so what do you want to do? I said, I'm never going to come back home. Even if it means me staying under the bridge. He listened. He said, do you want coffee? Apparently I got to find out that he was a bank MD. Right? Very wealthy guy. And he said, don't stress. Didn't judge me. So I felt at home. It became my friend. I stayed there till in the night. It was early morning. I stayed in the night. He made sure I was fine. He gave me a John Maxwell book. I never forget that book. This thing is like almost 30 years ago. You know what's funny? I've bought at least 100 copies of those John Maxwell books just to give other young people.
Yeah.
He created my first business. You know, he told me I could come back anytime I want. He should drop me back in the house that
Yeah.
day. Of course, he wasn't going to support me leaving the house, but that's one thing. And it's called the critical part of your life. Everybody has critical parts in their lives, but it's important for you to intentionally create those critical parts. In my case, it was accidental.
Yeah.
Right? So there's one person you meet. I just want to buttress the point that there's one person you meet that changes your whole life. Sometimes one knowledge you meet or whatever it is.
So basically, this exposure that we have to this, let's call it factor, this event, creates multiple. It creates effects at the end of the day. Multiplier effect, and we should. So basically, we should be looking out for this, right?
Absolutely.
And we should take advantage of it when it comes.
Yeah.
And since we're looking at business and business growth, and maybe this quantum leap situation doesn't come up, right? So how do we key into this in our daily life? How do we make this happen? Because honestly, we can't be waiting for accidents, right? So what are those things, those conscious things we need to do? Because it's really, really important that everyone grows in their business, right? So what are those things that we need to do that can change or get that spiral? Let's call it that quantum effect. Yeah.
So you might not know the person that will change your life, but what can change is you paying attention to people.
Okay.
So 4 things that have come to your life that change people's life is people, places, events, people, places, events, and knowledge. So now you don't know what person, what place, what knowledge will. So what do you now do if you know there are only 4 parts? So you pay attention to those 4 things. So one thing I've learned to do, for example, under people, is if I really want someone to change, the first thing I do is to ask him, do you have a mentor? Okay. Right? So every divorce you see, to every broken child, to every failed business, that would not have happened if they had a mentor in that thing. Right. I mean, I remember a few years ago, there was a particular pastor in this country that had a huge scandal, you know, the whole rape scandal. And behind the scene, I was in the room and someone was having a conversation. I said, oh, what changed that thing was someone who flew his private jet to his house and said, tell me what really happened. There has to be that one person who has your back. And people live lives without even having that person in their life. So one factor that makes you successful in life is having somebody in your life who is a mentor. There is no great person I have seen that doesn't have that. Like even the Mark Zuckerberg we see today is a product of hanging around certain people, right? The Steve Jobs will talk about hung around a lot of times with the Hewlett guy. The Bill Gates story, every time Bill Gates talks about his story, behind the scene there's a Bill Joy, right? The guy that created Java. Even back to Nigeria, back to any great. So mentorship for me is that first thing under people, right? Places is, I think everybody should have one place in their life that is a sanctuary. When everything shuts down, right? You can go there, like an altar, literally,
like a safe haven.
Yes, like a safe house. Sometimes also a place where you can, like a literal altar where you need to go to have solitude, right? So I've had this conversation several times on this group. Like you see very wealthy people and they have maybe a country home or they have like a beach house. Well, you can't afford that, but you can have somewhere near your house. Like I remember once again, the Koi story, 80% of my time I spent alone was behind. So if anyone knows the Koi, off body lawn, you have like a place called Queen's Drive. It used to be very abandoned waterside. I would go there and spend 3-4 hours. You know what's funny? 20, 30 years down the line, I don't live anywhere close to that. I will still drive my car now to stay there because that's a place for me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of spirituality around it. Why do you think like in religion, they tell you to go to Mecca if you're a Muslim or go to, I mean, there's God everywhere. So why Mecca? Right? It's one of those very non-tangible, right? Yes. But very functional things you need to do in your life.
All right. So the other one is event and play.
Yes,
and,
events and knowledge. So books, right? And I'm a huge fan of just reading one author, right? So I think everybody has their central ideologies that no matter the amount of books they write, it still shows in that ideology, right? If you look at the Bible, for example, every book that Paul wrote seems to have the same type of tone. Every book that Solomon. So you choose your mentor in writing and consume everything around that line. So I stumbled upon Robert Greene. I'm a huge fan of Robert Greene. That's what we could do, the guy that wrote Fortress of Power, and that's what we could do, the Mafia Manager. But I now stumbled upon a book he read with 50 Cent, and I fell in love with 50. I followed all of that's Curtis Jackson, who rappers rap, they call him 50 Cent, and I noticed how he has a train of thought that is constant. He has a new book out like last month. It's called Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. I still read that. So knowledge, and sometimes it doesn't have to be book. It could be an old person in your village. It could be, but the point about exponential growth is that there are signposts, there are critical parts in your life that you must put a flag when you get there, so you can always recognize that flag to come back over and over again.
It's really important. You know, some people, they just don't have the time to read. There are easier ways that you can do it, basically. There are audiobooks, and if you don't want to buy audiobooks on YouTube, we have people that have read books and made it easier, so you can even play it while working or walking or doing something else. So basically, we've talked about business growth, the different areas that changes people's lives, and of course, what's important to everyone. So what metrics do you measure business growth with?
If you ask me, your market size, right? How much percentage of the market do you own? The ultimate goal of every business is to own 100% of the market, which is not usually the case, but that's your ultimate goal. That's why I like to tell people that whether you like it or not, the ultimate dream of every CEO is to monopoly. So if you criticize Dangote and say Dangote is the only one owning refinery, if you were Dangote, would you also not be the only one that's owning refinery? Right. So first is market size, market share, then company size. Company size being number of staff you have, right, and all the assets you also have. The third one is revenue. That's the one that everybody just talks about all the time. Making more money is a determinant of how much you're growing. And so why this is important is so that every MPR, what you call monthly performance reviews or quarterly reviews, you can measure yourself based on these parameters. What's our percentage market size? What is our market size with TAM, SAM, and some addressable markets, right? Total addressable. What's our revenue, right? What's our market share? And also your valuation.
You know, most of these things are business. Could you simplify it for we, the CEOs, the business owners that are still starting? Okay,
so they're not actually that technical. I as a rule, right? I think that I don't believe that when you're driving in the dark, total dark, you should turn off your light because it's shining bright on someone's eyes. I think it's easier for you to leave your light on and let the person move his face, whoever is shining his eyes,
that sounds very
capitalist. Right, but here's the problem because I'm just speaking metaphors. I think that what I'm saying is too important for you not to get it in its raw state. Than for you, because you really want to. The whole idea of this whole thing is to inspire you to also want to learn more beyond the 1 hour. But market size is basically saying how much are you selling more than your competitors are selling, or how much are your competitors selling more than you. That's what market size is, right? So you sell akara. I would like to always akara here. You sell akara, right? How many akara? I don't know what the unit of akara would be. One lump of akara, right? How many akara do you sell compared to the woman in the next street or in the same street? Because the same street will be a practical unifier because the same street.
Okay, that's
market size. Yes, that's actually market. That's actually market share, market size, total addressable market, and it's broken out. So revenue is basically how much are you making, but revenue is not a great determinant. If I'm even to get a bit more technical, is profit as a better determinant. Because you can make so much money and still run at a loss, right? Is your gross profit and your net profit. A lot of people make so much money, but their overhead is so much. So I was telling someone says, I was talking to someone about something. The guy says, he makes this amount of money in a day. I'm like, how many staff do you have? And I said, well, my wife actually makes 3 times this money, but with half your staff. Meaning that one is more profitable than the other. So sometimes it's the cost. And even in life, a lot of people make so much success in life, but at a cost higher than the value of that success. Right? I don't know if you've seen a 50-year-old who is so wealthy, but lives alone, and his kids haven't visited him in 10 years because they are in loggerhead, right? And he's divorced, and he's going through cancer. He has a lot of money, but that's not the type of success you want to have. But that's probably not a successful person. That is a successful person.
Oh my God.
Right? So that's why net profit over revenue. That's my conversation.
All right. We have had a lot of nuggets this morning. You know what? We're going to go on a short break. And when we come back, we'll talk about sustainability, for having a business that would run at a long time, sustainability basically. And also, when we come back, we're going to be taking the questions. We've gotten a couple of questions that has already come into our WhatsApp portal. So we're going to be taking those questions and more. So if you're just joining us, this is Hot 93.3 and it is the business show. We'll be right back.
Hot 93.3.
The frequency you can trust.
New Age Mobile, the first indigenous mobile phone accessory brand in Nigeria. With sales operation of over 15 years, New Age has strong distribution nationwide. Our power banks, travel chargers, cables, Bluetooth speakers, earbuds, and batteries have been crafted with our customer satisfaction top of mind. At New Age, we don't just sell accessories, but we sell a brand and an experience that you can trust. New Age, 100% reliable, durable, and quality.
Shopping for my family can be a hassle when it comes to snacks. My husband likes it crunchy. My little 7-year-old wants it chocolatey. But my dramatic teenager wants it to be all shades of yummy. But ever since I found the new Bonvita biscuit, everyone finally has something they can all enjoy. Yummy.
Bite into goodness with a new crunchy, tasty, and chocolatey Bonvita biscuits. It's enriched with real Bonvita goodness, and it's now available in stores and markets near you.
Guy, how far now? What's up with this face today? Did anything happen at the office?
My brother, it seemed like this business thing is not my calling. We just had our 4th consecutive loss. At this point, all my investors are almost pulling out.
Calm down. We always don't know what to do. That's why a consultant like Hexavia exists. Hexavia, it's a business strategy and management consulting firm. They have network of management and business executive breakfast and strategy session. It's called Breakfast with Eizu. He will be sharing with select CEOs, startups and executives disruptive hacks, models and strategy to business growth and structure.
Wow! Link me now.
To attend, just send interested to this number 0803-520-2891. Venue Eco Hotel and Suite this Saturday 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Limited slots available.
Omo, I feel refreshed. See you on Saturday.
Let us jumpstart your day. With your favorite music. On Hot 93.3. The Business Show with Hexavia. It's the business clinic on radio. Come, learn and solve problems around strategy and structure. Growing your business. Join Eizu, Daisy, and Essay every Thursday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Hot 93.3.
And we are back right about now. It's 30 minutes to the top of the hour to make it 10 o'clock, and you're still listening to Hot 93.3 FM. And I am Daisy Atuchiku, holding it down right now on the business show. And we've got our experts all the way from Hexavia Consulting, Eizu, in the studio. Good morning again.
Good morning.
Okay, so we have been having quite an interesting discussion, from seeds to trees, basically growing your business exponentially. And we have discussed several things. If you missed it, I think you can listen again on the podcast. You have a podcast?
Absolutely, yes. You can always go to our website or just follow me on Instagram. We upload all of the content there. Just follow me. My name is Eizu, E-I-Z-U. It's quite a unique name.
Yeah. Where did that name come from, by the way? What, is that English?
It's part of the brand strategy.
Ooh, look at that. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so yes, so you can go to the website on
www.hexavia.ng. Okay. Right, but best, I think people are more social now. So Instagram, just go to EI. Follow me on Instagram. It's EIZU, Eizu.
All right.
If you want more consulting or structuring, whatever it is, you can just send interested, and we can talk to you on the number 080-3520-2891.
Okay, so that is that. let us go into our discussion. So we've discussed exponential growth, growing your business. We've also discussed how to measure your business growth. We were going to discuss sustainability before we went on our short break, but I think it's really important, because after that we're going to be going into the next segment of the show. We're going to be taking your business questions and, of course, your business pain points, so we can address them head on. We already have some messages on WhatsApp, so join the train. 0818 00 89933 0818 00 89933. Try to give us a background of your business, what you do, and of course what you want to achieve, and what's that pain point that is, dragging you a little bit back. This is basically a business clinic where we discuss that and more. So before we go into the questions that we already have, Eizu, let's talk about sustainability. We want to grow an exponential business, and we want it to be sustainable. We don't want it to die, basically. Yeah. We want it to run as long as it can. So how do we achieve this?
Okay, so one would be customer centricity. Right, customer is king. No matter how much you plan, once your customers go, you go. There's a quote, and I thought it was really powerful. I think by Sam Walton, the owner of, I'm not sure, I think Walmart or so. He said the customer is so much king, he can fire everyone in the company simply by spending his money somewhere else. Right, so as long as you keep your customers happy and you keep them coming back and bringing more people, your sustainability is guaranteed. And it's so funny that people forget that as you start business, right? Yeah. Every great business failure you have seen, from the BlackBerry fall of BlackBerry head ground to Yahoo, what you find is people who their customers moved away. So being customer focused and having structure to make sure your customers come back, like having feedback, rewarding them, showing them that they care, being close enough to them that when they have problems, they tell you before they tell others. So yeah, I like to see when people put this thing on their front office and say, oh, if you have a problem, if we serve you well, tell others. If we don't serve you well, tell us. Right? So customer focus is key, and letting everybody know that that's one thing that you don't play with. Right? In my organization, the easiest way to be fired is for a customer to complain about you. Right? And it's important. Second one is having a strong culture. Culture is one of the greatest assets of anything. It's even beyond business, even as a country. If you check any country that is done well, may become world power in the whole last few years. If you look at when Britain was world power to when America, and now it looks like China is the next guy. What you find beyond that success is culture. Have you seen how Chinese try as much as they can to hold their culture? But when they give you loan, they also give you their people to work there, so that you can. There's a lot of infiltration of Chinese in almost all the African countries. People don't know how deep that is. Like, you go to Unilag, you see Chinese lecturers teaching people Mandarin. Funny enough, Mandarin, all of a sudden, that's the official Chinese language, is the most spoken language in the world currently, right? Or would be the most spoken. At least over 1.5 billion people speak Mandarin. So, and the same thing you saw when America became world power. They infiltrated the world with their culture, whether it's their music, whether it's their movies, whether it's their sports. That's how you create culture. But your own company too. If you can't build anything long term, if you don't have a strong culture. So what's your culture? Your core values, right? And I like to say this all the time, like, one of my values as a leader is excellence. I'm very deep about it. I don't play with it. I don't mind losing staff if they don't fit into our culture. Because my culture is excellent, in the last 10 years, I've hired at least 90% 4.5 CGPA. If you don't make a first class, you're probably not going to work there. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that you're not a fit for my organization. 4.5 CGPA first class, or don't worry about it. So my parents would call and say, oh, that your cousin that is in the village, he's looking for a job. I'm like, Daddy, I can get him a job, but not in my own company. He says, why? I said, because we have a policy and a culture that if it doesn't fit in, and I can't hire people I can't fire. I'm not going to hire you and you have to call village meeting when I need to fire anybody. Right? So protect your culture. You might have to be assertive to do that. So, and then the last one is business continuity plan. There has to be a plan beyond you as a CEO. So while you're there as a CEO, what happens when you're not there? Life happens. That's the truth. Right? And sometimes life doesn't happen. Are you not thinking of moving something higher? Somebody will say, oh, what's the highest thing I've been a CEO? You can be chairman. Like, you can be chairman of your board. Why must you want to die there? Like, the people who you say, oh, this guy is a great guy, right? Have you planned what if he leaves? Even your staff, there's a great guy. So continuity plan has to be structured out. And we do this in Xavier. We'll help you develop this whole structures because there is 7S you must get right? And for people who are listening, co-hotel event next week. Like we know we do this so often that these are the things we try to talk about in the organization. So if you're listening, you want maybe corporate restructuring, systemization, strategy, structure, the contact is just send us a message on WhatsApp or on Instagram. My name is Eizu, so you can search that out, EIZU, or just say interested to the number 08035202891. You can send a message if you want to attend the Go Hotel event as well.
All right. We have had quite a lot of information this morning. So let's go into the questions of the day and see who we can help this beautiful wet Thursday morning. This one is from Joseph. He says, a company. Okay. My company was struggling with growth. He says, a company was struggling with growth and an employee spoke so highly of his twin brother as a solution to solving the problem. We brought him in and found out that he has an amazing skill and track record with solving our growth problem. We thought of hiring him. We discussed with the HR and we found out that we have no policy on family members working together. So he was hired. A few years, we moved from 25% loss to over 270% profits. Wow. What you would call an exponential growth rate, right, Eizu?
Yeah.
Wow, from 25% loss to over 270 profits. Great. So let me just continue reading the story. He says, one day, a fight broke out in the office between the two brothers. On making inquiries, we realized that the high-performing twin brother was sleeping with the other staff's fiancé, who happens to be his brother. As a CEO of a firm, what should we do? Please advise. Eizu, this is a family matter brought into someone's business, and it's not looking nice. How do we deal with this?
It really would be great to also hear the view of other callers, right? Because I like to say none of us is as smart as all of us. If you're listening now and you think that you can relate or you have your idea opinion, right? It'd be nice to hear. But this is my own opinion, right? First thing first. The capitalist in me will be thinking profitability. Like which of the brothers are we going to fire?
But that's
that
not
the company will not.
No.
But let me finish. That's what the capitalist part of me would say. But the capitalist part of me is not the dominant part of me. It's the humanity and the empathy part of me, right? Business ultimate goal is to make profits, right? And serve people. This conversation you are having is your village problem that you're bringing to the company. But then life isn't that straight up, right? Empathy and humanity, right? If that was you and is it ethically right? So my own opinion straight is that the guy who's sleeping with the brother has to go.
But he's the one contributing.
But here's where it gets interesting. Last time we talked about mafia manager. This is where your mafia manager skill comes in, right? Yeah. He has to go because here's the problem. He didn't sleep with the fiancé. He's been sleeping. There's a present continuous tense. So what that means is that it's culture too, right? There is disloyalty in that conversation. There's mistrust in that conversation. And if you can do that to your brother, then what you can do with me or for me is literally unimaginable, even as a company, right? Someone can sleep with his twin brother's wife or fiance. You don't think you can be saved as the CEO of the company in terms of work, right? So I think that there has to be a way to let the guy go without it hitting your company. So set up a panel, right? Try to stagger that panel a bit so it buys you time to create a proper succession planning for him, because he's brought in all the profits, he's brought in all of that. He can take it out also all of a sudden, right? So you've got to be able to create a strategy. We call it poka yokai management and error proof. Poka yokai is a Japanese word for error proofing. So you have to error proof what you want to do so that he doesn't leave. And because there's always more than one side of a story, right? So he doesn't leave and turn it around, right?
Yeah.
And it affects the company. That's my own view, but I'd like to hear maybe what someone else has.
Oh, yeah, please. We would like to hear your thoughts. 0818-242-6591. 0818-242-6591. You can comment on the story that we just read out, and you can also bring in your challenges with your business, so we can also deal with your story. Maybe you have another story that would shock us this morning. We are hoping that doesn't happen, but then if you have any business pain point, please do let us know. We have another story here from someone else. This one is from Joel. He says, my business is about to collapse and I am on a crossroad of shutting down. But a former boss wanted to inject 135 million naira, but he's asking me for 65% equity. This sounds very familiar. Well, he says, I'm currently going through a depression because if it shuts down, I fear it will damage my reputation. All I have worked for, I may have to be arrested, charged to court for people I am indebted to. What do I do? So someone wants to help him, but wants to collect almost everything.
That's emotional. First, whoever you give the power to feed you, you give the power to starve you. Yeah. That's just how life is. This is really what I call the cold street of corporate world, right? First thing first is, how did you arrive at 135 million that you need, and how did you arrive at the 65% valuation, right? So the first thing you want to do is, and this is why I tell people don't run a one-man business, even if you're the only one that runs the business. Let him see your board, or consider an advisory board. And we're back to that question around mentors again. It's easy for him to have discussion one-on-one and bully you when you're the only one involved, right? So is there caller?
No, we don't.
Yeah. So it's extremely important for you to be able to show that there are other people involved. What that does sometimes, it dilutes his mean thoughts, right? So that's one. Two is revalue the business and see whether it's actually worth that. I think a 135 million for 65% equity means that your business should be about 300 million worth. So check your inventory, check your what you call inventory and stock, check all of the fixed assets you have, right? And see whether it matches up to that amount, right? And see your valuation first. I think that's important. And then secondly is, can you face out your process with him, right? I think that's also key. And then have an agreement.
Have an agreement?
Yes.
Okay. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Hot 93.3. Welcome. What's your name?
Okay, I'm Henry. My name.
Henry, you're calling from where?
Okay, I'm calling from Surulere.
Oh, Henry, welcome. Nice to have you.
Thank you so much. Well, I want to quickly, comment on that. Someone, twin brother sleeping with fiancé. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for me, for the sake of the business and for the sake of what he brings, the profit he brings to the table, I will rather let go of the girl, because he can't sleep with the girl if the girl didn't give him the go ahead.
Okay.
So the girl allowed him. That's why he did that. If the girl was decent, that could not happen. So it's left for me to let the girl go.
No, the lady is not in the company. She is the fiance of his twin brother.
They see the same thing, whether in the company or not. The girl should not come and I'm an Igbo boy, so the girl should not come and cause problems.
Come on, for business.
Understand?
Oh.
So let the girl should go while the profit and the company, everything continues. That is my own.
All right, thank you so much for that. We really do appreciate it. But the thing is, the fiance is not in the company. She's not a staff, and we are trying to think as a CEO right now. The people in the company is the brother and the twin brother. Remember, the brother brought in the twin brother.
Yeah.
And the twin brother is the one bringing most of the profit in the business.
Yeah.
And the twin brother is the one sleeping with his brother's fiance, who is not a staff of the company. So that is the dilemma.
But a fight
now.
broke out. That's what forget that fighting is a conversation. Fighting is a ground for, in most companies, termination.
Yeah.
So naturally, if anybody wasn't sleeping with anybody and he was fighting, the both of them would go. But he's not in the place to let both of them go. right? And if he was to choose, and he was to be a capitalist or like the brother that called, it would be who brings the most money. So it's really it's a catch-22 situation. It's crazy. But I appreciate your view on it.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are taking we're talking about someone who is about to receive help from his ex-boss, and the boss wants to inject 135 million naira, but wants to take 65% equity. And you were trying to give us a solution to that issue.
Well, the ultimate goal, before I even start breaking it down, is to take the money if you have no other way out.
Okay.
It's that King Solomon story in the Bible where there's a child and then two people are claiming to be the children, claiming to be the parent of the child. Would you let your dream, your idea, everything die, right? Or would you want to own 35% of that dream and see it flourish, right? It's a game of, a few years ago, I used to be a guest on what you call it, on Moment with Mo back then. Shout out to Mo Abudu when she shoot at Tinapa. I remember one time we were at Tinapa then, when they used to, that was where Ebony Life Studio used to be. And one time we were having a conversation and he was sharing the dream, which is today's Ebony Life, you know. And he made a statement, and she made a statement. The statement was, this conversation over 10 years ago, and she said it's better to own 10. She was trying to raise equity, raise money, and raise finance for equity. And she said it's better to own 10% of something that makes sense than 100% of nonsense. You know, and I never forget that conversation. It's so interesting.
State stock.
Yeah, it's better to own 10% of something that makes sense than 100% of nonsense.
How about the threat of you losing that 10% eventually and not having anything at the end of the day? Because that's what...
But if the dream still comes to, if you've ever been pregnant with a great idea, it's very equivalent to being pregnant with a child, right? It's that deep that a lot of women will mind to even lose their own lives to have that, except that medical practice always says the mother first before the child. So here's my conversation. You still have 35% and you can regain your depression states, right? You can regain your sanity. You will not go to jail. You will not be arrested. Your brand equity will not be derailed. Then you can take time and start to buy back your shares if the business gets really, really good. And if it doesn't get real good, you still have the 35%. And you might even lose more because whoever thinks that way will still come over and take over your business. This actually sounds familiar, right?
Very familiar.
Right? It happens in corporate.
In fact, this stories, both of them sound familiar. There is a story that I know of a company in this Lagos where there is this sleeping situation and it's a big company. It was they had to terminate both of them. Both of them should leave. But then, let's let Lagos call in 0818-242-6591, 0818-242-6591, and also you can send in your messages to 0818-00-89933. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll have more of this discussion.
Hot 93.3 Lagos.
New Age Mobile, the first indigenous mobile phone accessory brand in Nigeria. With sales operation of over 15 years, New Age has strong distribution nationwide. Our power banks, travel chargers, cables, Bluetooth speakers, earbuds, and batteries have been crafted with our customer satisfaction top of mind. At New Age, we don't just sell accessories, but we sell a brand and an experience that you can trust. New Age, 100% reliable, durable, and quality.
Guy, how far now? What's up with this face today? Did anything happen at the office?
My brother, it seemed like this business thing is not my calling. We just had our 4th consecutive loss. At this point, all my investors are almost pulling out.
Calm down. We always don't know what to do. That's why a consultant like Exavia exists. Exavia, it's a business strategy and management consulting firm. They have network of management and business executive breakfast and strategy session. It's called Breakfast with Eizu. He will be sharing with select CEOs, startups and executives disruptive hacks, models and strategy to business growth and structure.
Wow! Link me now.
To attend, just send interested to this number 0803-520-2891. Venue, Eco Hotel and Suite. This Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Limited slots available.
Omo, I feel refreshed. See you on Saturday.
The Business Show with Xavier. It's the Business Clinic on radio. Come, learn and solve problems around strategy and structure. Growing your business. Join Eizu, Daisy, and Essay every Thursday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Hot 93.3.
9 minutes to the top of the hour, where we're going to be taking the news at 10. But before then, we are still in the business show, discussing everything that has to do with your business and answering your questions. And honestly, I want to say thank you so much, Lagos. You have been amazing. These messages that we have seen so far are very relatable. We can see that they are very familiar. This is not the first time they are happening, but then you have brought it to the fore. And we do hope that most of the advice that you've gotten, you can implement them and put them in, and everything will be solved. Now, are we giving out something today?
Yes, absolutely. The business growth is actually quite an important conversation, right? And one of the key things is how to measure growth. And I've mentioned them, how you measure business growth. So if anybody can call and define those 4 or 5 variables that I spoke about, you would win a slot to the Breakfast with Eizu. It's a strategy and structure session, breakfast session at Eco Hotel and Suite. Buffet outlooking the Eco Atlantic last floor of Eco Hotel is magical. Great time to network as well. You want to attend, you can win this if you call and tell us, or you can just send interested to the number 080-3520-2891.
Please take the number again.
Yeah, so you want to attend the Breakfast with Eizu or at Eco Hotel, or you want consulting and strategy sessions for your team, just say interested to the number 080-3520-2891.
All right. If you are going to send that message, please send us as fast as possible. But then right here, we are giving out a free ticket. By the way, this breakfast session is not happening with just anybody. It's happening with CEOs here in Lagos. You know that Lagos is the #1 commercial hub of West Africa. So dining and having breakfast with CEOs from here is a great networking opportunity. So you want to key into that. Answer the question. Very easy. Do you want to give us just one tip? Just one of them so that we can.
One, we said market size, and size is broken down.
Okay, market size. So that's one. So if you listened earlier, now you know the rest. One of them is market size. 0818-242-6591. 0818-242-6591. I remember when we were having that conversation, we asked that you simplify it, and you said, yeah, so let us have that. 0818-242-6591. And also you can call 0818-00-89933. That is 0818-00-89933. So you can win something this morning. Hello, good morning. We lost that call. Please call us back. 0818-242-6591. 0818-242-6591. So I was saying that the stories that we got today, they sound quite familiar. But in this other case, it was the case of an MD and a staff, I think from the legal department. No, not from legal. I think, I don't know, but there was a staff anyways, and they had an affair. And the husband of the staff that was having the affair with the MD brought it to the fore, and he did it in a very scandalous way. Very, very. I don't even know if that man likes that woman, because the way he embarrassed her and disgraced her, it was so bad. And at the end of the day, the company had to think, and this MD was so good. He was so good. He was literally the brain behind the success of the company. He had been there, flew in, came in as an expatriate, all of those. It was, but they had to let both of them go.
Yeah.
It was really, really sad. But then in this case, it's true. What did you say he should do again?
I think you should let the guy go, but you should stagger it so that he buys time.
Oh, yeah.
To create succession planning, because the guy is obviously genius level intelligence, and that's the sad thing about life. All these genius people seem to have one side effect, right?
Yeah, but if you're staggering it,
set up a panel, delay the panel, so use it quickly to wrap up all of the institutionalized knowledge you need to put in him, then you cannot let him go.
What if he changes during that period?
How do you determine changing after sleeping
Maybe
with?
he apologizes.
How do you measure changing? Like, are you going to be with him every day to see to see whether he no longer it's and for me it's even present continuous tense. Okay. And even if the worst case, which man said is the woman that blah blah, that conversation, I'm sure I understand that, because one of the things we talk about is self-discipline. It's like you saying that you stole money because the money was exposed. Like, if the money was exposed, was it your money? Right. So, or she was the one that gave him. What are they giving you? Like, did you not open your hands to collect? It takes two to tango, literally. Yeah. So, I think that's my own personal view. Like, I like to say, my views is my views, but other people, it's really a game of capitalism. But as I grow older, I'm learning to be more concerned about kindness than results. 10 years ago, my view might probably have changed. 10 years after, and that's how growth happens.
Yeah, just to address something, I think I'm the lady here, but just to address it, honestly, when there is a cheating situation, it's not fair that people blame the lady.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
I mean, they will say she's the one that
she what she wore. This is what she wore.
Yeah,
like,
that's not fair. That's not fair at all. It's a very patriarchal statement. But then, we don't have so much time. We have to run. We have 3 minutes on the show. Eizu, what are you saying to us before you leave us this morning?
Growth is a game of intentionality. Anyone can fall off a ladder by accident. Nobody climbs a ladder by accident. To grow, you've got to be intentional. And one of the first things you need to do is list out your steps to your growth, critical path, what you must do. And in the case of that example, what you must not do. Because you can do all the right things and still end up in the wrong place because you did not do certain things. What are your ground rules? There are things you should not do as a human being. And people around you should also know that there are things you should not do. Right. Okay. I mean, I know a client that is the most ruthless person I have seen. Right. But as a rule, he would say, look, Eizu, whatever I do, I will pay for it. That's something he would not do, right? Say, look, I don't do free stuff. No matter what you tell him, says once you use the word free, says, as a principle to me, I don't do free stuff. And you know what's funny about this conversation? Even on his bad behavior with boy girl, he still says that thing. I don't do free stuff.
Wow.
So that in case you want to swear for me, right? I had paid for whatever. You know. So I think core values, and don't forget what I said. Everybody must have a mentor. We all once in a while has a tendency to derail if we don't have the right people to guide us. Have a mentor. Pay attention to knowledge. Right. The difference between you now and the next 10 years, people you meet, and the things that you know, and nothing changes a man's destiny more than those two things: knowledge and people.
Knowledge and people. And our breakfast session basically covers that. Please, can you give us that information again?
So, Xavier, first of all, is a business and management consulting firm. We're into strategy, structure, expansion, restructuring, and all that. And every now and then, we would have breakfast sessions to discuss strategy and structure. Now, so you want to attend the session, or you just want to call us for intervention in your company, just send interested to the number 080-3520-2891. The next session is next Saturday. So if you want to attend, send interested to the number 080-3520-2891. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram as well, EIZU.
All right. Thank you so much, Eizu, for coming through. It's always a pleasure having you every single Thursday morning right here on Hot 93.3. And of course, Lagos, it is always a pleasure having you in the studio as well through your message.